So now let's rank my Spook-tacular October rewatches, which is definitely a whopper. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name's Doyle, better known to you as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you my ranking of my Spook-tacular October rewatches. This is all the horror flicks I rewatched last month for Spook-tacular October. Now, this ranking's kind of a whopper. I rewatched 69 movies. Some I watched twice, but well, I think you know what I mean. Now, you won't be seeing my face much, because like my first time watches I recently did that came up earlier today, you're only going to get to see the picture of a flick, and I'm really going to try to go rapid fire here on this ranking, okay? And this is going to be a long one, so I'm going to be putting it into two parts. Now, for this half, you'll only get number 69 to 31, and then tomorrow you will get the second half, numbers 30 to number 1, okay? Good. Now, okay, that about covers it, alright? If you're ready, let's get this over with, alright? Here we go, right now. Coming in at number 69 is Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan from 1989. Now, this, of course, is my least favorite of the Friday franchise. Well, actually, my second least favorite, because Jason Goes to Hell is my least favorite. This film's okay, but it's not great. Kane Hodder might be good as Jason, but not as great. He's a little slimy, and the way he looks after he's unmasked, it's horrible. Some of the cast of characters are kind of more a miss than hit. I mean, the only kill I liked was the head knockoff of Julius, and the song The Darkest Side of the Night are the only two things I know of that saved this movie from being a total disaster. I watched the other 3 Fridays that came before this on Peacock, since I've got the first one on DVD, and then watched Jason X, though, and they didn't have Jason Goes to Hell. Coming in at number 68 is The Omen from 2006. Now, this, of course, is the remake to the 1976 film. Well, it's alright, but it's not great. Now, Liev Schreiber and Julia Stiles were pretty good. As for Mia Farrow's performance of Mrs. Baylock, she was, well, factually okay, but kind of looked like a dark version of Mary Poppins, though. And the guy who played the kid who played Damien was okay. I did like David Thewlis, though, as Keith Jennings, and Pete Postlethwaite did a pretty good job in playing the priest, Father Brent. We also get Sir Michael Gambon in as Boogahagen. Those were some good aspects, but this was almost shot for shot, but there were some differences in the original one, which we'll see where that winds up later on in this big ranking. Number 67 is Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare from 1991. Now, while this was formerly my least favorite of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, but now, of course, it's that dull remake from 2010, I'd rather rewatch this over this. I know this is what made the series go more downhill after Dream Child. Robert Englund's Freddy is just more over-the-top crazy and hysterical, all Looney Tunes and all that stuff. Well, most of what you'll see in the movie is kind of Looney Tunes, but overall, this is alright, but it's not really that great. I mean, the Carlos kill was pretty good, just the first half kind of creeps me out, though, but the kill was still good, though. The rest were just, dull. Enough said. Coming in at number 66 is Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood from 1988. While this is okay and all, I think most of the characters were a little bland in what I view. But I did like Kane Hodder's first performance as Jason, though. This film did have some, factually good kills. I got to see him uncensored in one video, but the MPAA came hard on this like a guillotine. kind of some of the good kills and what have you. But like I said, most of the characters were more a miss than what have you. So anyway, not really much to be said. This is kind of like a Carrie versus Jason. This what kind of would lead inspiration to doing a Freddy versus Jason movie, but we wouldn't get that until 2003. Oh well, nobody's perfect. Number 65, it's the Final Destination from 2009. Yeah, now this, of course, is easily the least favorite of everyone's, and even myself. I only watch it only because I like to complete the series and what have you. But anyway, this film, well, the kills aren't too bad, but the characters are mostly dull and what have you, and well, I think it could have done better without those cartoony sound effects, once they get to the kills from the premonition. Oh well. This film was still kind of a little good, but not really good. You know what I'm saying? Number 64 is Annabelle from 2014. Now, this, of course, is, well, so far the bottom for the Conjuring series for me. Even though I have yet to see The Nun or The Curse of La Llorona, this is still the weakest I've seen. The film's okay. I do like the setting, though, of it, though. But it's just kind of not really the greatest, but overall, it's an okay movie. I'd rather watch the second and third films over this one, which we'll see where those wind up on this ranking. Annabelle is still an okay movie, but just not really one of the best, though. The performances were reasonable and all, but just watch my reviews. I recently reviewed the series and the Conjuring movies last month. And number 63 is Friday the 13th, A New Beginning from 1985. Now, after the final chapter came out, Paramount decided to go at it again. This time make it more of a mystery horror, almost like the original. Of course, while a different Jason hockey mask is shown, Jason's not the actual killer. It was a paramedic named Roy Burns. Oops, sorry. I spoiled it for y'all, but I'm sure a lot of y'all have seen it. Some of y'all liked this movie, some of y'all hated it, because I know it was a mixed bag. It was a black sheep, just like Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Oh well, but the cast is reasonable. It has some fun moments and all that jazz. Enough said. Coming in at number 62 is Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child from 1989. And this film's alright, but it's not really great. This is where Freddy goes over the top with his jokes and all that jazz. I mean, I liked Lisa Wilcox being back as Alice, and we do see Danny Hassel back as Dan, but not for too long because he's Freddy's first victim. The plot's kind of a little odd and the kid who plays the supposed child of Alice's isn't really that great. Other characters were mostly a miss and a hit and what have you. But anyway, again, this is alright, but it's not really great though. But anyway, I've heard they put out a better cut of this than what have you on video long ago, but it'd be tough to find. And of course, it was directed by the guy who would later go on to direct Predator 2 after this. Coming in at number 61 is Leprechaun 2 from 1994. Well, I have a mixed hate bit with this one. Most of the cast was more a miss and what have you. Now, I liked some of the characters just for certain reasons. I mean, while Bridget's kind of a little bit of annoying at sometimes, but she can prove to be a pretty good female character, though. Anyway, Warwick Davis, however, steals the show as the Leprechaun and what have you. And the death of that guy Ian is probably my favorite kill of the movie, especially when he sees that fantasized version of Bridget and what have you. I know they had to use a body double though, but oh well. This film's okay though. Number 60 is Halloween H2O, 20 Years Later from 1998. And I recently did a re-review of this, and it did much better than my original review. This film is kind of a mixed bag, but I still like it for obvious reasons. Jamie Lee Curtis is back as Laurie, going under a different name, and has a son now, played by Josh Hartnett in his first film. Well, he's pretty good too. While the rest was kind of more of a hit than miss and what have you. Michelle Williams I liked. And LL Cool J wasn't completely bad, completely. Everyone else was okay, but anyway, the problem was it went through so many mass changes for Michael Myers. Watch my new re-review and you'll find out why. Still, it's still an okay movie. Coming in at number 59 is Urban Legends Final Cut from 2000. Now, this, of course, is the sequel to Urban Legend, which we'll see where that winds up. This is kind of a hit or miss in one of you. Now, I thought some of the kills weren't too bad, but it's just that they could have been better. The cast was okay and all. I mean, I liked having Eva Mendes in this, Anthony Anderson, reasonable. The rest weren't too bad, but this was still a mixed bag, though. Because I like the original Urban Legend a little more than this, though. But it's still pretty good with them working on a movie in this. Yeah, this was pretty good for the story. But the movie, yeah, it's alright, though. Number 58 is Final Destination 5 from 2011. Now, this, of course, I didn't know that it was going to be what it was. This would be a prequel to the original Final Destination. I do like the premonition of the bridge starting to collapse and what have you. The kills aren't too bad. It was a little bit of a redemption over the Final Destination. Anyway, but some of it was kind of a little silly with some of the characters, but overall they were much better than what we saw in the Final Destination, so I'd say it's not too bad, but still it's not great though. Coming in at number 57 is the Flintstones meet Rockula and Frankenstone from 1979. Now, I did say horror, but this is kind of more of a family-friendly horror type animated special that came out on, well, network television. Now, this film follows the Flintstones and the Rubbles winning a trip to, well, a prehistoric version of Transylvania where they meet Rockula and the Frankenstone monster, which of course would be inspiration for the Frankenstone lead, Frank Frankenstone, for the Flintstone specials and then the Flintstone comedy show the following year. Anyway, I think this film's pretty good. It would be the last thing the late great Ted Cassidy did after, well, just once he passed away, because this came out 10 months after he passed away. So, anyway, this film's pretty good. I think this would be worth watching for your whole family. Number 56 is Sugar Hill from 1974. Now, this, of course, is a blaxploitation horror flick. It was done by the same studio that did Blackula. Now, this film's very underrated, and it's about this chick who wants to get revenge on this mobster and his goons after they brutally beat up her man to death. With the help of Baron Samedi and his army of the dead, she gets her revenge, and boy, she becomes a real supernatural voodoo woman. You can find some clips of the movie. It'd be tough to find the full movie, though. It's not really on physical media. You can probably find it on Amazon Prime if it's still there, but if it's not, just wait until it comes back and what have you. You might want to give it a try, even though it's a PG-rated movie. Number 55 is The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, which came out this past summer. Now, I have a little bit of a liking for this. It's not as good as its two predecessors, though. Well, it's not taking place in a haunted house and what have you. This film focuses on Anne Lorraine Warren's greatest case ever, about demonic possessions and what have you. Anyway, this film's, well, reasonably good and what have you. It's still not as good as the other two, but it does its best. I still like the performances we got from Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, though, and its staying in the 80s was pretty good, too. But again, not as good as the other two. Number 54 is Leprechaun from 1993. Now, this film's pretty fun in ways. Warwick Davis is absolutely creepy as the Leprechaun. Some of the kills aren't too bad here. I could have expected a little better, but anyway, this film's pretty fun. I really did like the characters. I mean, it had Jennifer Aniston in her first ever big thing before Friends even came along. But anyway, this is still a good way to start this franchise, which is kind of a hit or miss and what have you. Because I only watched the first three and no other sequels. Oh well. Number 53 is Buffy the Vampire Slayer from 1992. Now, I'd only seen this movie maybe once or twice, but it's been a long time. After I finally got to revisit it on Tubi, I realized I knew I'd seen this movie. And this film is just so absolutely fun and all that jazz. I need to review it. It's going to celebrate an anniversary next year, so I think I'll look into it. Chrissy Swanson's really good in this movie. The rest of the cast isn't too bad either. Anyway, this film would actually give inspiration for that great show with Sarah Michelle Gellar, who played the title character. Anyway, I'll review this film next year for its anniversary. Just stay tuned for it. This film was pretty funny in ways. Coming in at number 52 is Monster Go Home from 1966. This came out after CBS had ended the 2-year run of the sitcom The Munsters. This would feature the other Spook-tacular TV clan, aside from the Addams Family, their first feature-length motion picture and in Technicolor. Now, we got everybody back except for Pat Priest, who played Marilyn in the series. We did have Fred Gwynn, Al Lewis, Yvonne DiCarlo, and Butch Patrick back in their respective roles from the series. Anyway, the story's pretty good, and the movie is absolutely real funny, especially when Herman starts heading off in that race in his Dracula. Yeah. If you haven't seen my review of this, you gotta check it out. The full movie is actually on Tubi. Check it out if you haven't. Number 51 is Halloween with the New Addams Family from 1977. Now, this is a televised reunion special. John Astin, Carolyn Jones, Jackie Coogan, and Ted Cassidy all return as Gomez, Morticia, Uncle Fester, and Lurch. And I gotta say, this film's absolutely funny. I have it on video cassette. I watched it on Amazon Prime, which is where you can find this film. And they try and have a good time with their family as they decide to celebrate the season of Halloween while trying to fend off a couple of crooks who are posing as members of their family. The full movie's also on YouTube. You gotta check this out. If you're a big fan of the Addams Family, this is right up your alley. And number 50 is Scream Blackula Scream from 1973. Now, I do like this movie, not as much as the first Blackula, which that's coming up later on this ranking. I do like William Marshall's performance as Blackula again, aka Mama Waldy. He's pretty good. Pam Grier's pretty good. The rest of the cast isn't too bad either. I do like the main theme song to the movie, Torment. That's pretty good. You can find the full film on Tubi. You ought to give it a try, but recommend you watch the first one, though. It may not be on Tubi, but I think if it's still on Prime, you give it a shot. But I'll get to that later, alright? But anyway, Scream Blackula Scream, definitely a good movie. Maybe not, close to being good, but still, it's fun in ways. Number 49 is Freddy vs. Jason from 2003. Love this film. You can't go wrong with a good battle like this. Robert Englund's really good as Freddy. The rest of the cast isn't completely bad, Well, King Kersinger's a reasonable Jason, but not as good as Kane Hodder or C.J. Graham or any of those others. But overall, he still does a reasonably good job. That's all I'm saying about this movie. It's a pretty good fighting fright fest, Number 48 is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, also from 2003. Now, this, of course, is the remake. The original will be coming up later on, but probably in the second half, though. This film I've seen a few times. I recently watched it for the first time in years on Peacock, and it's still not too bad of a flick. I mean, I do like some of the cast, Jessica Biel and several others. I can't remember all of them because I haven't reviewed this one. I might sometime down the road, but this film's pretty scary in some parts. I think it's pretty good. Well, I still like the original, but this one is pretty good in ways. Number 47 is Annabelle Comes Home from 2019. I like this film. I know a lot of people didn't like it much, but even so, I do like it for what it is. I like the atmosphere. I like how it took place in the Warren household and all that jazz. Got to see a lot of them Warren's little museum of occult objects and what have you. Yeah, that was pretty cool. And I liked the music we heard, like Dancing in the Moonlight and Day After Day. Yeah, and some of it was a little scary, but it wasn't quite as scary as the others were. But still, it's pretty good in ways. Coming in at number 46 is A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge from 1985. Now, this film's kind of a mixed bag, but it's still pretty good. I liked the performances and what have you. Mark Patton and Kim Myers, they were good. Robert Englund proved to be the darkest he was for Freddy. Yeah. It did have that silly little dance sequence and what have you. But anywho, this film isn't too bad. I know it got a lot of hate and what have you in some ways. Maybe not completely a lot, but just for certain reasons. But anyway, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 is pretty good. Number 45 is Final Destination from 2000. Love this film. While most people like the second or third one over this, but that's fine with me. I like it for what it is. I like the performances we got from Devon Sawa. Ollie Lauder was good, and everyone else wasn't too bad. Kurt Smith, Amanda Detmer, Sean William Scott. Yeah. This is what started out to be a pretty darn good series. Oh yeah, Tony Todd, as Candyman was in this. Yeah, this film's pretty intense in why we mean that you can't cheat death. I do like this, or love this, whatever you want to say. Number 44 is Urban Legend from 1998. Excuse me, I was about to say 88. Whoops, my bad. This film's pretty underrated, but I like it. It's pretty scary. With a good cast that include Alicia Witt, Michael Rosenbaum, Tara Reid, Joshua Jackson. Let's see. Yeah, they're all pretty good. I liked the mysterious killer in the hoodie and no, not the hoodie, but the parka. That was pretty cool. Urban Legend's pretty good. We see Danielle Harris in this. Yeah, she's pretty good too. This film is very, very good. That's all I can tell you. It's not too bad. Number 43 is Army of Darkness from 1992. Love this film. This was the third installment of the Evil Dead trilogy. Bruce Campbell's absolutely great as Ash. And I gotta say, it picks up where Evil Dead 2 left off, so I'm glad we got a continuation to this. This film's more of a comedy than a horror flick, but anyway, it does have a lot of fun-filled hystericalness. This is one flick you cannot afford to miss. If you're a completionist of Evil Dead, check this one out if you haven't. Number 42 is Wes Craven's The Hills Have Eyes from 1977. This film's really cool and awesome. I like how this family gets stranded out in the desert and are being encountered by these here mutated cannibals of a family. This is really good. I have seen the remake in YV, and it's not bad either. It's awesome. Still, I gotta give credit to Mr. Craven, because he gave us something really awesome. I like it. The Campbell family is pretty cool, too. I like the way some of them look. They're creepy and what have you, but still awesome. Number 41 is Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2 from 1987. This film's pretty underrated, but I like it. It's pretty cool. Well, it's not a continuation of the original, but it proves to be sort of another story. The story of Mary Lou Maloney, who really gets fried after a prank and what have you, but soon takes over the body of this chick named Vicky. And boy, she really gives it to anyone. Boy, I gotta say, this film is really good. I didn't get to see the follow-up to this, but I have seen it, though. But anyway, this film's pretty awesome. You gotta check it out. If you haven't, that is it. Number 40 is Blackula from 1972. I love this movie. William Marshall's absolutely really good as Blackula, aka an African prince named Mamawaldi, who gets cursed by Dracula and reawakens years later in the 70s in LA, where he becomes a blood-sucking brother. This is one film I think you should check out. You can find the film on Amazon Prime if it's still there. If you can't, well, I can't say I didn't try. You could probably find it somewhere else. This film's pretty darn awesome. You gotta check it out. I like the music into this. The opening theme's really good, and some of the songs you hear from the Hughes Corporation before they even had a hit with "Don't Rock the Boat," "Rock the Boat, Baby," that song. Yeah, they're in this movie, and they do some pretty good songs too. Blackula, definitely a good movie. You gotta check it out. Number 39 is Wes Craven's Shocker from 1989. Now, I'd only seen this film one time, but recently I got to see it a second time on Peacock, and this film's pretty darn awesome. Now, Universal wanted their own version of Freddy Krueger, so Wes Craven gave it to him in Shocker. It's a shame there was no sequel. I would have loved to have seen one after seeing this a second time. It's pretty awesome. The killer is awesome. Everything in this was just so blooming shocking. Love it. Number 38 is Annabelle Creation from 2017. Now, this film got me into this, even though I saw Annabelle Comes Home before this, but after watching this, I started to like it, and that's what got me interested in giving the Conjuring series a try, and soon I liked those. Anyway, this is probably a favorite of everyone's. This was probably everyone's favorite Annabelle movie, and it's mine as well. I love this. I love the setting. The characters are pretty good. The thrills and what have you were good too. Well, you know what I'm saying. But Annabelle Creation, definitely a good prequel. Love it. Number 37 is Evil Dead 2 from 1987. Now, this is a soft reboot of the first film, and I can understand why they wanted to do that. But anyway, it's more creepier and more crazier than the first film, and what have you. Bruce Campbell is once again good as Ash, and boy, once his hand's been possessed, he cuts it off, and now he replaces it with a chainsaw. Yeah, that's when it really gets more fun. Then soon in the end he gets sucked through a vortex, thus would lead into Army of Darkness. Enough said about it. Evil Dead 2 is really good. Coming in at number 36 is Slumber Party Massacre 2, also from 1987. Now, this film's pretty darn funny and what have you. Like, it's a new... Well, it's not new. I mean, it's a follow-up to the classic one. But anyway, the girls in this are pretty good. Some of these we would recently see in some horror flicks, Anyway, I do like the Rockabilly Driller Killer. I mean, that dude was awesome. I especially love when he burst into song with Let's Buzz. This film is absolutely funny. You gotta check this one out if you haven't. Coming in at number 35 is the original Prom Night from 1980. Love this movie. Jamie Lee Curtis is exceptionally good in this. The rest of the cast isn't too bad, but I especially loved it. I loved its atmosphere. I love the music and what have you. Yeah, you can't go wrong with this one. It's pretty good. And I just really like it. It might be more of a mystery suspense type horror, but still, it's pretty good. Number 34 is Clive Barker's Hellraiser from 1987. Definitely a pretty bloody good flick, especially with being done in England. I must say it's dark, it's scary. The Cenobites are really scary. Yeah. This is why I introduced us to Pinhead and all those Cenobites. Oh, even though we didn't know Pinhead's name until the next one. Still, Hellraiser's a pretty darn good movie. This is one I think no one could afford missing. Number 33 is Friday the 13th Part 3 from 1982. Love this film. Now, although I rarely watch this in 3D, but I did last time I watched it. But anyway, I like our version. The kills aren't too bad. I mean, this is where Jason gets his hockey mask. Some of the characters are pretty, well, reasonable. Chris is a good character. A lot of the others aren't too bad. Shelly's a major nut in this, but even so. But a lot of the other characters aren't too bad. I'm just glad where we get to see Jason's hockey mask finally. And number 32 is Wes Craven's New Nightmare from 1994. Love this film. This is my fourth favorite of the Nightmare on Elm Street series. Robert Englund nails it as Freddy. Very dark and what have you. Not quite as dark as he was in the second one. But still, this was a big redemption despite Freddy's Dead was a big disappointment. But even so, New Nightmare, I feel like it's kind of a meta type film. But still, I gotta give it credit. Hair Langenkamp's good. Miko Hughes isn't too bad. Yeah, everything in this is really something. Number 31 is Final Destination 3 from 2006. This film's pretty good. I mean, it has different characters though, but still, I do enjoy this for what it is. I do like the roller coaster premonition, and I think that was just awesome. Some of the deaths were pretty good too. The tan bed death scene was good. The scene where the chick gets killed by the nail gun's good. Yeah, this isn't too bad. It's kind of underrated though, but in some ways, but it's still pretty good though. And there you have it, my friends. That's the first half of my Spook-tacular October rewatches. So what did you think of this ranking? You can tell me what you thought about in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and be a part of the Big D Nation. And join me next time for the second half of the Spook-tacular October rewatches, where I count 3 to 1. Thanks for watching, and if you like this, you may want to consider check out these other reviews these other vids I've done. In the upper left-hand corner is the instant the replay of my recent live stream of Blackula that I did last month. The upper right-hand corner is my review for Annabelle Creation, and the bottom left-hand corner is the spoiler-free review I did for The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.